Is the separatist movement as strong as they claim it is in Balochistan? And
I think it waxes and wanes. Yeah, but I haven't worked on that recently.
And when it's on the rise, is it usually external influences that drive that rise? Is what the propaganda claims, right? That it's usually an external neighbor that comes in and kind of pushes the separatist movement. Is that what you find?
Yeah, I think external funding and all is absolutely there. They told me, I met some of them, and they told me that, yeah, we'll take assistance for whoever gives it to us.
So is it a function of poverty then? Is it just that because there is
Poverty, alienation, terrible alienation from the state, the kind of policies that are pursued there are just, it's very short-sighted.
And do you think that the state and the establishment are working to correct that at this point in time, or no?
I think they're very short-sighted. I think they just, the way they approach it, there's no understanding. Then I don't think there's any genuine desire to address. There are grievances, legitimate grievances. There's no desire to really address them. But the kind of stories I hear about the corruption that happens, and you know how the state kind of uses people, the politicians for their own ends, completely like the kind of free hand that they give to the politicians, and just as long as they remain pro-establishment. That's shocking. It's really shocking. It's
To me, that I've only been exposed to that province a little bit. I drove from Turbat to Panjgur once a few years ago. And I've been to Gwadar a bunch and, by the coastline a bunch or whatever. But the Turbat to Panjgur drive was eye-opening because there was a CPEC highway, open, beautiful road. In fact, I was like, this is one of the best roads I've driven on, except my car was the only car with a Pakistani number plate on it. Every other vehicle was an Irani vehicle carrying 5,000 liters of fuel, moving in the direction going to Karachi. And I could count, I think I counted hundreds of them. And, upon reaching the destination, I asked one of the locals, I said, what was this? They're like, oh, yeah, that's the fuel smuggling. I said, but it's so open. They're like, oh, yeah, everyone knows about it. I said,
he gets their cards
And then someone then showed me a map of Balochistan. They're like, you've seen the map of Balochistan. I said, yeah, it's this little pointy kind of rump of a dog type, look. They're like, no, you're looking at it differently. And they actually drew outlines of, I think I forget the number, it was 20 plus families that actually control Balochistan. So they showed me basically 20 pieces of land, and they're like, it's actually an amalgamation of 20 small, let's say, 20 small fiefdoms that no one's been able to control over the last, at least since partition. And I was like, I've never looked at it that way, And so then the whole separatist movement started to make sense, and the foreign funding started to make sense, because at that point, yes, poverty is part of it. But the other part of it is that if you're part of one fiefdom and not the other, there's always going to be that rivalry. And that rivalry has not been resolved at a state level.
It also serves the state's purpose, right?
How does that serve?
But I mean, to divide and rule, that
right.
The old policy